Casey, do you have us live right now?
Hey, Mary, I don't know if you can hear me, but Kurt's gonna be about 10 minutes late, so we're just holding up till he gets here.
Okay, but y'all can see me?
Yes.
Okay, I just can't see y'all.
So those cameras aren't live yet? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Not live.
Okay.
And I do see on the, I pulled it up on my iPad to see if I was messed up, and Jane Knoll is also on the thread. But that's the only other person I see.
Okay.
Hey, Steve.
We can see you, just so you know.
Big Brother's watching.
All right. Let's call this work session order. Roll call, please.
Kurt Smith,
Here.
Gustafson,
Here.
Perry,
Here.
J.R. Smith,
Here.
Ms. Brabner's joining remotely, and Mayor.
I am here, as always. We'll go over the agenda first. Skipping down the new business, ordinance number 588, 2021, ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the city and Baldwin County. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, as I stated earlier, I do represent Baldwin County. In one case, I do have a conflict. If there's any issues, then we'll address those accordingly. It's my understanding at this point in time that both parties are in agreement, so we're moving in that direction. This ordinance would establish the planning jurisdiction for the city of Spanish Fort for the regulation of subdivisions in accordance with new amendments that were adopted by the legislature of the state of Alabama in the last session pursuant to Senate Bill 107. This is a copy of a proposed agreement that would be approved by the County Commission, the Planning Commission of the City of Spanish Fort, and the Spanish Fort City Council. We've taken this and we've discussed this in work session a couple of times, and we've also had communications with the Baldwin County Commission representatives. It is my understanding that they had a work session today, and that they'll be going forward again to work session next week prior to their next meeting. As soon as we get some feedback regarding this, we will come back to you with proposed agreement. It is possible that we might be able to do that at our next meeting. If not, we may have to require, as the mayor and I have discussed, a special meeting at some point in time, with the idea that we're trying to get all this in place by July 28th. May or may not be possible, but you all and your staff have done everything they can do at this point in time to make that happen. So we're waiting on the county to respond.
David, in your conversations with the county employees, aren't they going to delay that date a little bit because of them not having everything put together?
Now, I haven't had that discussion. I think you
Joe
may have.
Davis and I had that
Okay.
conversation. He led me to believe that, but I hadn't talked to him.
And I hadn't heard anything from anybody either, other than what you told me.
Well, just keep tuned in, and as soon as we know something, we'll let you know. Moving to ordinance number 589, 2021, an ordinance annexing certain property of the corporate limits. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is an ordinance annexing certain property in the corporate limits of the city of Spanish Fort. This is property is owned by Bayshore Oil, Inc., and it is located adjacent to or near the Dollar General store on Highway 31. This is, the legal description is attached. Sorry?
Which one?
That's a good point. How about Stagecoach?
Okay.
Stagecoach and 31. That's a good point. Lot 1, Spanish Fort Cantina subdivision. They propose, have also requested that they be pre-zoned for this property prior to annexation, and they have requested B4 zoning for this property. I think it's their plan to build a convenience store, gas station, that kind of facility on this property. Since this is the annexation petition and ordinance, and it's conditioned upon the zoning of the property, I would ask that you not take action on this annexation petition until we complete the public hearing process and y'all make a determination regarding the pre-zoning of the property in accordance with another ordinance that'll be coming up shortly.
And if you'll notice in your packets, the petition was signed later this afternoon, so it is behind the copy of the ordinance. The copy of the petition attached to your ordinance in your packet's unsigned, but there is a signed copy in your packet, just behind that ordinance.
All right, so that takes care of ordinance number 589 and 590. This will be the first reading, and will be on your next agenda.
Question. Can I
Yes,
ask
sir.
a question?
Absolutely.
Okay, I know we've already discussed this, it seems like, but if I look at that map on Exhibit 1, doesn't it have to be contiguous and touch the city somewhere?
Well, Highway 31 right-of-way is all through there,
I'm looking at, oh, this,
and I'm trying to find
okay,
the map.
excuse me, I see, it's in Exhibit 1, it was right behind that one.
Yeah, the
I
the
see.
dotted kind of
I'm
shaded.
sorry, that was throwing me off, the commercial part was dotted, and I was thinking it was it, but it's the hashed, it's,
Yeah.
okay, never mind. I did that
But you are
same,
right, it does have.
I did that same thing the other night when I looked at it, you'd think that it would've stuck with me, but it didn't.
Any further discussion on 589 or 590? Okay, moving on to ordinance number 591, 2021. An ordinance is amending ordinance number 5196 of the city of Spanish Fort, establishing zoning classification of certain property at B4 major business district. David?
Mayor, since you took those two annexation ordinances together, would you like me to take these two, 591 and 592 together?
Sure.
They're companions. Okay, so as we stated earlier, Bay Shore Oil, Inc., under 591, and under 592, Collin Enterprises, LLC, have both submitted annexation requests. They have both also requested their properties be pre-zoned prior to annexation. Bay Shore Oil, as I mentioned to you, has requested that their property be zoned B4, and then Collins Enterprises, I believe, is proposing to build a restaurant there, Spanish Fort Cantina. They have requested that their property be zoned B3. The Planning Commission has held a public hearing on June 14 and forwards a positive recommendation for both of these pre-zoning requests. And so basically what we do, as we said before, we go through the zoning process like we would if it was a rezoning, and then upon annexation, if you approve this, those properties will be zoned B3 and B4 respectively.
This is our first reading. We'll have a public hearing on this at the August 2nd meeting. Any discussion? Okay, moving to Resolution 1156, 2021, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract for street resurfacing of portions of Cora Slocum, Lackawanna, Rhett Drive, and Tanager Lane. Mr. Connor.
Mayor, the lowest responsible bidder for the resurfacing of Cora Slocum Drive, Lackawanna Court, Rhett Drive, and Tanager Lane was Asphalt Services, Inc. Their contract bid award is for $154,335. A copy of the proposed notice of contract and notice of award is attached, as well as a notice to proceed to have that work performed. This authorizes the mayor to enter into that agreement in accordance with the terms set forth in the attached agreement.
Any discussion on this item? Moving on to Resolution 1157, 2021, a resolution disposing of certain surplus property. Mr. Connor?
Alabama Code Section 11-43-56 authorizes the municipal governing body to dispose of unneeded personal property. It has been determined that we have 4 Chevrolet Tahoes, 3 2015s and 1 2016, that are no longer needed for municipal purposes, but would make great vehicles for someone that's willing to purchase them. So this authorizes the mayor and city clerk to dispose of those vehicles as deemed necessary.
While I appreciate your optimism, they're not in such good shape. In fact, I think they're just going to be scrap. Because we've been using them for surplus parts to keep the rest of them put together. There's been so y'all know, as everything else with automobiles, there's a delay in getting any. We've ordered vehicles and maybe getting, how many next week? 4 or 5? 3? They've been ordered for a long time, and we're behind. Chief's already informed me he's going to ask for extra next year, but we'll all hash that out at budget time.
Let me add to my sales pitch then, buyer beware, and no representation is made as to the.
You attorneys are good at that speech. Any other discussion on that item? Moving to Resolution 1158, 2021, A resolution appointing a municipal judge for the city of Spanish Fort. Mr. Connor?
Mayor, this is a resolution reappointing Municipal Judge Derek Rose for a new term beginning July 2021. According to the resolution, he'll serve for a term of 2 years or until his successor is appointed pursuant to applicable law and the ordinances of the city of Spanish Fort.
Any discussion on that item? Okay, that's the agenda as we have it. Anybody have anything they want to add to the agenda, something they need to discuss before I go over my notes?
Do have an executive session item toward the end, Mayor, when you get a chance.
All right. We'll let you know that the American Rescue Act, is that what it's called? Rescue Act? Rescue Plan Act, whatever. We have received our first payment. There is a very specific list of which Becky's going to hand you out copies of it, I hope.
Don't have copies yet, Mayor, because it has to be compiled from several different places, but I will email it in the next day or
Okay,
so.
let's mail it out. I want y'all to see what is eligible for this fund. It looks like we will get somewhere just north of $2 million as opposed to the 1.71 they originally told us. We've received half of it and put it in a separate account to keep it separate from our general funds and all those things to make it easier for bookkeeping purposes for the government. But we'll send you out a list. The real, to me, there's one item on there that really strikes me as perfect for us, and it is stormwater management type projects. And we all know that is our #1 issue in this city, so it makes sense to try to do what we can. But I wanted y'all to see what is eligible, to see if you have some other thoughts on that, of what we could possibly use as funds for, okay? We have plenty of time. It's not going to be a rush thing like we had on the CARES Act deal. This is a 2-year window, I believe, isn't it?
I think we have to have the funds committed by December 31st, 2024, and expended by 2026.
So we got time to make this happen. Good. I want y'all to know we are starting the budget process. First meetings of this week. So if you have some projects that you perhaps would like to see in our budget, I would appreciate you bringing them to us so we can start looking at numbers. And as always, we'll do a little retreat and hash out everything and figure out what we're putting in that budget. But if you have some thoughts or suggestions, please send them to us so we can put it in front of everyone. I do want to tell y'all some sad news we got today. It turns out that Carol's mother passed today around noon, so she will be up in Michigan with her family, which reminds me that it's time to re-ante our flower fund. So when everybody gets a chance, let's get that to Becky so we can send some flowers up there. And I also want to remind everybody we are live tonight, in case you didn't know that already. So let's watch what we say, I guess. Gotta be careful.
Can they see me?
Only when you talk, right, Casey? Would you prefer it not to be that way, Mary?
I would love the community not to see me in a ball cap and a t-shirt.
Casey, can you make that happen? Done. Okay? Barb? No, I've heard nothing back from him. Okay. All right, I know you've all seen the social media about our recycling area, and the way it sometimes gets abused. People just putting things on the ground. I have asked the chief and his IT folks to help us with this problem. You know, we've tried to be very patient and with the whole project, but it's just becoming more than we can handle, and it certainly is an eyesore out there, there's no doubt, and it's a bad reflection of our city. So we are perhaps looking at putting some items out there to help us identify individuals that may be doing it, and maybe have to write some tickets to get people's belief in what we're saying. So just to make y'all aware of that, it will come before us later on.
I actually talked to a gentleman in my district about the recycling efforts that we've got. And I even spoke with Jordan over the weekend as well to get some stuff picked up that they'd missed a couple of times. But he did mention, the gentleman that called me, said, you know, that it's usually full by Friday or Saturday or something. It's just stacked up. Jordan mentioned that there would be no cost to the city if we increased another dump to it. So in other words, they would be able to come in on Wednesday and make a dump there. So by the time it got to Friday, it wasn't already full. That's what
Well,
this gentleman was saying.
I know right now they're already dumping 4 times a week, Waste Pro, isn't that right? And the county dumps 3 times a week.
Okay.
So I don't know how we can dump much more. The county can't get us any more containers, and Waste Pro, they've been very good about, I mean,
Yeah.
4 times a week dumping those things. They're very good on top of it, but the majority, I wouldn't say the majority, there's a lot of folks from outside of our city limits using that, and there's a lot of businesses that are using it to keep from filling up their dumpsters.
I think there are
There's a
people
lot of-
abusing it as well.
There's a lot of businesses that take all their boxes and they're working locally, businesses with storefronts and people that work from home, and they know when it's dumped, and they run up there and they take all their boxes and chunk them in there and fill the whole dumpster up with a handful of boxes because they're too busy to break down the boxes. If all of them were
Yeah.
broken down, we wouldn't have to dump the dumpsters twice a week and we'd have plenty of room.
That's what I was trying to tell this guy, Jordan.
If we
basically.
could cut it where it was a slot this big for you to slide it in and they couldn't open the door, then they'd take care of it at their own place of business.
Yeah, the gentleman I spoke with, he knew that there was probably some abuse going on. He said, you know, we're seeing stuff just piled up on the ground after it. He just said he's trying to recycle, and every time he goes, it's always full. So,
Well, he's just timing it wrong, because I'm telling you, they're out there almost every day dumping. And I don't know what else to do, because we don't really have room for more dumpsters. Dump them every day. And this is a problem across the county. It's not just Spanish Fort. We've talked with the county. If you look at any of their other recycling areas, they have the same issue. So, yes, ma'am, Mary.
Can we talk to the state about putting a sign up to remind them that there are dumpsters at 5 Rivers? That if this one is full, can you take your stuff to, please be courteous and take your stuff down to 5 Rivers? It's not that far away.
I would think that'd be something, Chester, we could probably make a sign for and put out there additional dumpsters. Additional recycling facilities are available at 5 Rivers Resource Center. So, Mayor, we can handle it that way.
Anybody know what time the gates open down at 5 Rivers? I know they close the gate where you can't access the dumpsters.
I don't know that answer, JR.
I withdraw the question.
Thank you. All right, that's all I've got. Y'all have anything you want to cover? I know Mr. Connor wants to take us to executive session. And I do want to make a note. I want to make sure we always end our work sessions 5 minutes prior to our regular meeting taking place, because Casey has to do some things and reboot, or else it's a long, continuous recording, and that don't work. So let's make sure we keep that in mind. David?
Mayor, make the recommendation the city council go into executive session in accordance with Alabama Code Section 36-25A7A1 to discuss the general reputation, character, competence, or mental health, or subject to the limitation therein, to discuss the job performance of certain public employees. Also in accordance with Section 3, to discuss the legal ramifications of and legal options for pending litigation, controversies not yet being litigated but imminently likely to be litigated, or imminently likely to be litigated if the governmental body pursues a proposed course of action. It's anticipated executive session will last approximately 20 minutes, at which time you'll reconvene the work session. I make the oral declaration that the discussion is appropriate for executive session.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Kurt Smith,
Yes.
Gustafson,
Yes.
Perry,
Yes.
J.R.
Yes.
Smith, Mayor.
Yes, we'll be back in 20 minutes or thereabouts.
Executive session is expected to continue approximately 10 more minutes.
Let's call this work session back to order. Anybody have, is Mary back? Mary? There you are.
Hey, Mary.
We just called this work session back to order. I have no further business. Anybody have anything else they need to cover? If not, can I have a motion to adjourn the work session?
Motion to adjourn.